Hello, Kukomi here, and welcome to a very different Let's Play from what I normally do. This isn't just Metroid Prime 2. Any apt viewer who's seen the title of the video knows that this is a very different take on Metroid Prime 2. This might shuffle around all the items in the game, and the goal is to still beat the game, but I don't necessarily know where everything is. I need to use what I find and get to where I can get to get more items. It's a Metroidvania, except it's different. It offers a different experience, and it's really cool. If you're familiar with Randomizers, I'm sure this whole explanation is just telling you stuff you already know. And before we really jump in, I would like to actually meet you on a completely different screen. Okay, just before we get started here, I wanted to go through this and the randomizer itself, Randomized, currently on version 0.26.3, and just go over what this is, show you what's all that. So you have several tabs here. You can go through the usage. It tells you how to use it. It tells you to load a game, where you can configure the rules. Frequently asked questions. This is actually kind of important if you're not familiar with how the logic of Metroid Prime 2 works. It explains why some things don't work in certain rooms. I know this has caught me off guard. This one, Dynamo Works in particular, has caught me off guard. And so is this. And why some things don't seem to spawn immediately and what causes them to spawn. So your questions can be answered here. I'll, of course, be going over this as we play the game. These are just differences between this and the vanilla game, such as you can skip all cutscenes by default. It changes a few things to fix potential crashes, which is great because I actually remember I changed I didn't even go through certain areas because I knew it had a potential to crash that way, but I didn't actually know they changed to fix that, which is good. They prevent doors from being locked. Yeah, Metroid 2 loves to lock doors after you complete a certain objective to make sure you stay on a linear track. It tells you where you can get all in-game hints. And there's even a tracker, built-in tracker into the randomizer, which you can get through the open tab. It can't actually show it on this capture thing. Here you can just load the ROM. Here's where you can put the seed. And this is the seed I'll be using. This isn't randomly generated, but I chose this myself. This is the day I uploaded my first episode of my first Let's Play. And I was going to do month, date, year, because that's how I write dates in general. But for some reason, the seed doesn't want me to start with 0 right here. So I had to go date, then month, then year. And the 14 at the end is actually just AD, but since A is the first letter in the alphabet and D is the fourth letter in the alphabet. You can choose to create a spoiler log. You can choose where it outputs. You need to have the game. And I can't tell you how to obtain the game, but I just recommend this. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you do obtain the game through interesting means, I ask that, at least my general philosophy, this sort of stuff is to try and support the official release when you can. If that's not your philosophy, cool. I don't want to push my own beliefs on you. I own the trilogy version, so I do have a legitimate copy of this game. This is some interesting patches. You can include what I believe is, I haven't really experimented with this, but I believe this is sort of like a debug menu where you can choose which items you have, and you can just warp to random rooms. If you're playing this, I highly recommend enabling this option. This has saved me from several soft locks. Because again, some rooms act differently when you do things out of order. You can actually change how much damage the Dark World does to you, which I find hilarious. I could put this up to 90 if I really want. I think, hold on. Yeah, like this. I could just do that. Maybe make it 100 while I'm at it. No, okay. Well, I think you can. If you just keep hitting up, you'll eventually get there. Eventually. So, yeah, yeah, see, look, you can do this crazy stuff. The default is 6 for dark, or 6 for the various suit, 1.2 for the dark suit. Light suit, you can't change that. Here's where you can change the logic and progression. So the randomizer, if you check this, the randomizer expects you to get grapple beam before getting screw attack. The game expects you to get dark suit before getting light suit, so on and so forth. And here you can something that's not in the game normally, but they have here is they split up the ammo expansions, the light and dark ammo expansions. So you can, so instead of having something that just increased both by a certain amount, you just get just a light ammo expansion. And you can change how many there are in the game here and what the total ammo count will be. You can do the same for missiles. Note that I believe in vanilla Metroid Prime 2, you end up with 255 missiles at max. But because of the change to the ammo, you end up with a little less, and that's fine with me. Same goes for power bombs. You can choose if you want to randomize what you start with. Here, this is for the different, for the actual logic itself. So this can be, does the game expect you to know how to do certain tricks? I just keep no tricks enabled. I know like 1 or 2 things, but I don't really know a lot. You can choose to randomize the elevators. I'm not going to for this run. You can choose to change the goal of accessing the final area. If you want to collect less sky temple, if you just want it straight open, you can set it to 0. But if you don't want to collect 9 sky temple keys, say you only want to collect 5, just scroll to 5. I'm going to keep it on its vanilla setting. You can actually choose to go to a specific area, or you can choose to start. So when you first start the game itself, you can choose to start at a random save station at your ship like you normally do, or you can even specify an area, which you can do here, and there's a drop-down list between the different areas and different rooms. That can, and of course it can possibly cause generation to fail. I just keep it to the ship. I believe this can also mess with using the, adding the warping to starting location from save stations. And it's the reason it says starting location, not ship, is because you can change your starting location. You can randomize what the actual gates require, which I think is hilarious, what type of translator they require. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it as vanilla. And you can change how much the hint shows, whether it's no hints, whether they're really specific or just general. I'll keep it on just general. Here's some little stuff such as, this is probably my favorite, no text box when you acquire item. It just tells you got a missile on the bottom of the screen. And this might be a bit controversial, but this actually shows where all the items are in the game on your map. So long as you haven't gotten it yet. And I already know where all the items are, so it doesn't really matter for me. To me, I like this. I use this essentially as my tracker, because I generally, if I see an item in a room, I will generally know what I need to get it, because I've been playing this game so much recently. Nice thing about this is you just start with the entire map from the start of the game, so you don't have to worry about that. And faster credits, of course, because I've already watched the credits. As much as I love this game, and I really want to give due praise to the people who've developed this amazing game. Yeah. And that was just my... I'm not even going to explain that. I'll let you guys guess what that noise was. And so yeah, this will take a few minutes to generate. So I'm just going to generate this, get on my SD card, and I will meet you guys back in the game. Kukomi from a few minutes in the future here, just to tell you that it actually told me that my seed is impossible with the settings for 1.4 at the end. So I just took out the 1.4, so this is the new seed in Permalink for anyone who wants to generate the same seed. Good? You got that? Yeah, just in case future me didn't put it in the video, I did have to change the seed name. Because the seed actually declared it impossible. The randomizer declared it impossible. So yeah, as you can see, based on this, I have played through this game twice already. Or the randomized version, so 3 times counting my initial playthrough, which wasn't randomized at all. And you can also see I've had to find a majority of the items. I didn't get 100% because I wanted to on this run. This is my first run of the randomized. I got 100% because I literally found the last required item at the last possible place I checked. Really frustrating. But, of course, I will be starting a new file. And we're going to be playing on hard because we're not pansies, even though hard lives up to its name. And we're just going to skip that. Yeah. So, immediately, those of you who know Metroid Prime 2 might notice that I don't have missiles. I can't, I'm tapping the B button. I can only jump once. I don't have bombs. Yeah, there's no item loss in this game. It's been removed. So you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and go in here and save just to sort of establish my file. This Let's Play isn't really going to focus on the story of Metroid Prime 2. This is just more about the fun of a randomizer. You do start out, unlike Metroid Prime, the original Metroid Prime, you do always have Morph Ball and Charge Beam. It's like that in Metroid Prime 2 when you lose your items as well. And the first bit of this game is going to be very similar. Thankfully, they got rid of a lot of the tutorial stuff. I've seen an older version of this where this area was still pretty much the same as the normal game, and you actually did have to go through the item loss, but here you don't have to worry about solving puzzles. You just need to be able to get through, unless you... I'm no speedrunner. I don't know a lot of tricks that well. Also, these guys. Yeah. Funny story. I knew that you found the Federation troopers dead, and that it was supposed to be, like, kind of horrifying when you found them. I didn't know they were actually just hanging out in one of these rooms, to put it nicely. So, even knowing that, that still caught me off guard when I first played this game. Like, oh, hello there. This being hard mode, enemies are going to take a lot more hits to destroy, but it's still not too terrible. So a lot of this first part is just going to be going through the first few rooms. I'm not sure what collectibles I can get if you do know. Things like ghetto jumps, which allows you to gain more height with your jumps. What else are there? Pretty much any out of bounds stuff, though might not... It's probably a lot tougher to do without space jump. I'm going to assume that if you're watching this, you know a bit about Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2. I generally try to keep my Let's Plays as beginner-friendly as I can. I think this is just a save room. Yeah, it's a save room. We don't need to save. Famous last words. I'm on. Also, this song. Don't get used to it, but I love this song so much. It's so good. The best speedrun trick I've picked up, which I completely and utterly failed at, is strafing around the terminal you scan, so you end up on the elevator spot when it spawns. That's like the best speedrunning trick I've really picked up. Thankfully, pretty much every cutscene in this, they made it so every cutscene here is skippable. So a lot of this is going to be pretty similar for the first few minutes. So I've considered cutting it out, but now we could take this time to just sort of talk about stuff. If I can get around this. That's actually really weird. I think that's supposed to be out of the way. Whoops, press start too early. And really, it's when we get the first item that's going to really decide how things are going to go from here. I know this you still have to do. And, you're going to hear a lot of clacking throughout this playthrough. I really wanted to do this Let's Play because I've been playing a lot of Metroid Prime recently, and this sort of just brings what I've been playing in my spare time and tie it into a series because I haven't really been recording anything. I've sort of lost, like, interest in playing Pokemon Fire Red, which is the Let's Play I was doing before this. Lost interest, or not lost interest necessarily, but it's been hard to get myself to record stuff. Without going too much in my personal life, it has been a bit tough. to get myself to record. But this is about having fun. This is what I've been doing, and I love playing these randomizers. So much fun. Though, granted, I played this like twice in a row recently, so maybe I'll get a bit burnt out probably after this, but still I want to play this. Another thing is that I noticed when I was looking around online, no one's done a proper Let's Play of the Randomized, or Metroid Prime 2 Randomized specifically. I mean, yeah, there's plenty of proper Let's Plays of Metroid Prime 2, and if you search it, you will find like 4-hour stream archives of a playthrough of Metroid Prime 2 Randomized, but no one's just done a general Let's Play on it. And I think that's a shame, because, you know, people have done it on the original Prime. Before I even played Metroid Prime 2, I was under the impression that a lot of people said this was one of the best games in the series. And I was surprised. I went in a bit skeptical because I really liked Metroid Prime, and I heard this changed a lot, but also it really, some of its changes were just super good. And I don't know what I'd say I like more, this game or Prime 1. It's really tough. But I was sort of surprised to hear afterwards just how little people talk about this game compared to Prime 1. They'll generally talk about how amazing Prime 1 is, or how amazing the trilogy is as a whole, but not many people specifically talk about Prime 2, I've noticed, which kind of baffles me, to be completely honest, as this game is good. I actually listened to a retrospective by a YouTuber named King K, and since I mentioned I pretty much have to go put a link to this channel, or at least a video in the description now. By the way, this is going to be our first item. Before I continue with that thought, let's see what it is. Power bombs! They look like Beyblades. There is an item up there, but it doesn't actually spawn yet. I forgot the specific trigger for it spawning. I think it's defeating Jump Guardian. Yeah, some overworld items don't spawn until certain events. That's one of them. Awkward cuts! So, you know, don't you just love it when your recording software just decides to freak out for some reason and stall the recording? Thankfully, I noticed it really quickly, so I only lost probably like the last 10 seconds. But basically, there was a gate here, I blew it up with a power bomb. With the Beyblade. Seriously, the first pickup for the power bomb totally looks like a Beyblade. So honestly, I lost my train of thought because I freaked out over my recording software freaking out. But I think I was talking about how I was listening to something before this on Metroid Prime 2, and it did spoil a few things for me. But that's fine. I don't think it felt like it took away from the experience overall. But definitely a sort of mentality I went into this game with was that, and I'm going to have to go back and farm for power bombs, because I know a crate that basically is guaranteed to drop power bomb, but there's a upgrade in that room, and I'm going to address the dots on the screen in a few minutes. Just wanted to get this thought out first. That the way this game sort of like has its area set up, it's almost kind of neat to think about them kind of like Zelda dungeons. You know, like there's Agon Waste, Torvus Bog, the Sanctuary Fortress. It sort of benefits to think of this world as like a big Zelda dungeon with, or kind of not a big Zelda dungeon, but like each major area is like a big Zelda dungeon in terms of puzzle solving progression, and that was a really neat way of sort of looking at it. I like that, and I sort of went in with that mentality of that's what I was expecting, and I was pleasantly surprised for most of it. Thinking of these major areas as Zelda dungeons puts a lot of the Zelda dungeons to shame. Like, wow. But I don't think it's completely fair it's not a one-to-one comparison. Right here, there's an item that you need a power bomb for, and it's pretty much the only item I can get, and I don't even have missiles! Oh wait, that gives me missiles? Okay, that gives me missiles. I didn't realize that actually gave me missiles. That's cool. I wonder if I'll end up with 5 more missiles than I'm supposed to. There is another thing about how the way the upgrades are divided with this. I'm actually going to end up with less missiles than I would in vanilla Metroid Prime 2 if I get the max number of missiles. And something I would just want to try here. Lock the camera into place. I don't think I'll be able to do this, but I can try. But if you... I don't quite get it. But if you, like, sort of lock the camera into place and look down and sort of run up against the slope, surface, and jump, I believe that's how you do a ghetto jump, which allows you to get more height. So, for example, if I just jump here, you can sort of see... You can sort of see how high I go, versus doing this. You can see I gain a little more height. It works a lot better with the space jump boots. It lets you get to places that you really shouldn't have been able to get to, but you can because of reasons. Right, I also don't know how long this episode is now, because I was using the recording timer as my actual timer. I didn't know this actually gave me missiles, though. That's really interesting. Oh, wait, there's one thing I missed. There's one really easy power for me to get that's just a little bit back. Though, do I have any power bombs? Or I should start calling them Beyblades, because that's exactly what they are. No, I do not. So I need to go to the crate that's just beyond this room. That's basically a guaranteed power bomb drop. Yeah, I probably won't do this too much in the beginning, but later on we'll probably have to run across the world a few times for a few things. That's just sort of the nature of randomizers. And I'll cut those out, so you don't have to just sit here. But unless I have a really interesting topic just going and talking about, because isn't that part of the point of a Let's Play? I think it is. Where was I? Oh boy, it's really back to Let's Play. I haven't sat down and recorded a proper episode of a Let's Play in a while. So it feels nice. It feels like I'm kind of back. Alright, we'll have to let it rip and take out this gate. And, oh god, my instinct is to go up to the door and drop a bomb. And, of course, you can't really do that, with how it is. Oh my god, I could have gotten a Beyblade from these. Okay, I see how this is. And that's a missile expansion. That's fine with me. That's just more ammo. So something I'd like to bring up is if you look at the mini-map, one, I have the entire map unlocked. That's just the thing I enabled because it's easier. And you see these dots. Those are where the upgrades are. And you could say, well, Kukomi, doesn't that kind of ruin the point of a randomizer of a Metroid game? And I would argue yes and no. Personally, I believe that having that sort of thing for a randomizer is, well, one, I already know, I've 100%ed this game before, as shown by that file I showed you at the beginning. I know where, and this was recent, I know where everything is. So even if I didn't have it, I would just have to sort of forget about something. 2, it sort of acts as like an in-game tracker for randomizers, which can really help keep things straight, especially if you're playing something over a long period of time. And 3, part of the fun of getting upgrades isn't just finding it, but also figuring out how to get it. And I don't think that's true of like every upgrade, though I do think there's like some upgrades, especially in the original Metroid Prime, that I really just had to look at them like, really? Why would I ever think to look there? And the puzzle was just realizing that there was something there. And okay, so that's basically just a missile upgrade, but you can enable a setting that basically makes it so you can't actually use missiles until you get the missile launcher. I did not enable that, but it's there. Because to me that's kind of annoying. And I guess I could also show the whole, I don't want to really show it until we have a good reason to, but if you choose to not save at a save station, you can warp back to Samus's ship, or in some cases where you can randomize the room you start the game in, you'll go back to that specific room. Some really cool stuff, you know? So I don't think it really detracts from the experience. If anything, I think it adds a bit, because it helps you keep track more. And it's still like, say I see a collectible here and I thought, okay, cool, let's go get that. Well, that's my phone. Sorry about that, just interruptions abound. But you have to realize that I need a specific item to get that. For this item, I need the Violet Translator. But some instances there may be like, oh cool, there's an item there. Oh wait, I need the screw attack to get it. Or the light suit, you know, in-game items. So just because you know where the item is doesn't mean you necessarily know how to get it. I generally can tell just because I've played this game a lot recently. I see an item location on the map, and I think, okay, I know I need this to get it. Stuff like that, you know? So really our only... That was a bit of a voice crack there. Our only way forward is actually going to be back by the ship we were at earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to meet you guys there. Alright, until we've made it back. And time to send these bodies flying! You know, I could have made a joke about let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Oh, right, I don't have Space Jump. I'm so used to playing with Space Jump, help me. So, right now, our goal is to just get to the Great Temple, which is just a little further ahead. Thankfully, all cutscenes are skippable, for even if it's your first time watching, which is great. There is a power bomb door over there. However, I can't do anything in that room without Screw Attack. And without the Dark Beam and Light Beam to go between the worlds. And I need Boost Ball to actually solve the puzzle. And I've noticed, I tend to remember just random stuff like that. I tend to learn things really well visually. And I watch the full... There's stuff like I'll watch like a run of a game, like a speed. In the case of this, I watched a 100% speed run done at Summer Games Done Quick, a charity marathon. And I just tend to remember random stuff like that about games, where things are, or maybe something about the lore. What I didn't remember the first time I played through the randomizer of this was where this thing was. Oh my god, I was actually in this room for like 5 to 10 minutes, and right, I think I need to actually shoot the wall first. Whistle. Die? Die? I like how that sounded like a question, like, maybe. 69. Blessed health number. Ha 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 ha, I'm so funny and original. We'll just take this track around, and this is really, oh, though, there's gonna be a boss coming up. Excuse me! There's gonna be a boss coming up really soon, and the missiles are nice, but the power bombs should make really short work of it. Power bombs can make really short work of some earlier game bosses, though this is also hard mode, so who knows exactly. There are also some hints integrated into the game. See, look at that, speedrunning strats. You can't skip the elevator cutscenes because they basically are loading screens. So it's actually loading the area, but you can skip the entering and exiting the elevator cutscene. Thank you. And of course, we're going to get random hints like that every now and then. Something I didn't know about until I watched a speedrun. And this just seems like an interesting thing for just someone who noticed. I don't know if you need power bombs for that, but there's an item down here. And it's the Emerald Translator. That lets us open green doors. Not green doors, but like the ones with those little puzzle symbols on the outside of it. It lets us open those. So that's good. That's going to point us towards possibly Sanctuary. But with this game is that like once from this point, sort of, I mean, even then, I think I can just walk around this. Oh, nope, I can't. I think it drops an item for me anyways. Hold on. Okay, I think it should be good, but I might have to cut again really soon. These guys, I think in my first hard mode playthrough, I actually died to, not these guys, but the one that comes after them. Though, even with power bombs, because I don't think it took them out immediately. But yeah, hard mode in this game lives up to its name. I can definitely say that. Enemies are beefy. They do a lot of hits. Oof. These guys. One thing I don't like about the Metroid Prime games, and I can sort of understand there's a limitation of the GameCube controller, but having strafe and jump matched to the same button is just based on how fast you press it when you're actually in lock-on. When you're not in lock-on, targeting an enemy like this, you can't strafe. But this, like, actually, like, I just find it so awkward to use sometimes. I'll strafe when I mean to jump, and I'll jump when I mean to strafe, and it's like, really? It's a complaint I have about this game. And this guy is just annoying. You're just the worst. Jumping at me like you're a head crab or something. I just learned what those are recently, and wow, that is probably one of the more terrifying things I've ever seen in any form of media. Oh god, he went for the— oh god! That's bad, that's bad. Just keep strafing, just keep— he tried to read me! Oh god! Okay, I need to be really careful. Actually, this is really bad because if he lunges, I can't dodge it. Alright. I'm actually really scared. Alright, there we go. Okay. So, dark ammo. Okay, so that's an interesting thing about this. Ammo expansions in this game aren't— I think we get a health refill anyways. No, there's actually— I think we get a health refill in the next— or in— through the next cutscene, so I can go do that. And I definitely know there's no enemies this way. So the ammo expansions are combined in the main game. In this, they're separated, which gives more collectibles. It takes away some missile collectibles. So, there's less total missiles. I think you'll end up with around 175 as opposed to 255 normally, and you can actually change that if you want to. You can choose to combine the ammo expansions, but I like it having separate. I like having it separate. That just— I can't speak, help me. Yeah, see, energy fully replenished. Thank god. It'd be really nice to get some— is that Dark Visor? No, that's Violet Translator. Yeah, they use the, for the translators, since they don't have an actual model, they just use the visor things and color it the proper color, but it's a bit tough to tell. Oh, okay, that's good to know. A movement system is either going to— so those are the hints. There's only like 15 of them in the game. They're the lore things that are that you find on the walls that you need the proper translator for. And as far as I know, you can only view them once. So Agon Waste is going to have a movement system that could be oh god. I think Boost Ball counts as a movement system. I know Screw Attack does. I know Gravity Boost does, which is basically the gravity suit. Yeah, I don't want to deal with you. That's what I was worried about going to the save station for, because I knew that enemy would be there. So I think we have ourselves a decent objective. With the Violet Translator, we can get out of here, because if we didn't actually get— without the Violet Translator, I would be stuck in this area, and I would need to do the travel back, because I need well, not only do I need Space Jump to get up this slope, without doing some form of weird jump that I can't do. I see you guys in the comments going, well, technically, if you do a properly ghetto jump, then yes, you can make it. Look, I'm doing it, okay? I don't know how to ghetto jump, but yeah. And for those of you who are wondering why it's called ghetto jump, I believe the story I heard was because there was some guy in an old forum who was saying, well, who was trying to describe some tricks and goes, well, yeah, you can get these higher normal jumps, and he basically described them as ghetto jumps because it sounded cool, and that's just the term that stuck. But yeah, we have ourselves an objective, a place to go, Agon Waste, which is beyond this door right here. So, next time on Metroid Prime 2 Echoes Randomized. Yeah, that's a long title, isn't it? I'll just be calling it Metroid Prime 2 Randomized. Not as long. It takes out one word. It's important, you know. We'll be going to Agon Wastes and hopefully not dying. I'd like to see if I can die as little as I can in this run. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.